I've always believed that video games are a unique and powerful medium unlike any other. They allow developers to tell a story or tackle a difficult topic in challenging and exciting ways, and allow gamers the privilege of experiencing something that touches our emotions, challenges our minds, and leaves us stunned and deeply affected even hours after completion. Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice is one such game. In an industry saturated by the unimaginative and repetitive regurgitation of games like Call of Duty or FIFA, games that play it safe, giving us the same old mind-numbingly dull crap year after year, it is refreshing to see a developer like Ninja Theory rock the boat and try something new and original. For those who may not be familiar with Ninja Theory, they are a small independent studio based in Cambridge in England that have brought us some great games, including Heavenly Sword, Enslaved Odyssey to the West, a fantastic and heavily underrated game in my opinion, and DMC Devil May Cry. They're an experienced indie studio, so those familiar with them would have expected something fun and memorable, but what many were not expecting was the quality produced here, combined with the ingenious way they have tackled difficult and dark themes, including torture, abuse, psychosis, and death. At face value, Hellblade tells the story of Senua, a Celtic warrior on a pilgrimage to the Norse afterlife Helheim, where she aims to save the soul of her beloved Dillion. In reality, however, it tells a more intimate tale of Senua's struggle with her psychosis and the ever-encroaching sinister darkness that she fears so much. As you play through the story, you uncover the truth behind Senua's demons and the heart-rending cause of her mental breakdown. Thanks to the award-winning performance of Melinda Juergens, who plays Senua, the excellent art direction and hauntingly beautiful soundtrack, the story of Senua's Sacrifice is a compelling and immersive experience and one of the best stories that I have played this year. I would describe Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice as an experience, and an important one at that. The character of Senua is so brilliantly crafted and brought to life beautifully. The writers, voice actors and animators have done an excellent job in making Senua a deep and complex character, who we find easy to like and to identify with. As you experience the game for yourself, on so many occasions you will feel like you are her. You feel her fears, her sadness, her anxiety and anger, as well as her moments of love and hope. No game has gotten into my mind, captured my heart, and immersed me in the way that Senua's Sacrifice has. It has left a lasting impression on me, even long after completing the main campaign, which is why I consider it to be one of the best games to come out this year. The developers at Ninja Theory certainly didn't shy away from a challenge. The issue of mental health has always been a difficult one to pin down and to portray in a mature and thoughtful way. We find portrayals in video games lacking, as they tend to fall into one or two categories. You have the quirky, light-hearted comic relief in the form of characters like Tiny Tina from Borderlands, or the more deranged and dangerous elements to psychosis as portrayed by the likes of the destructive Joker from the Arkham games. Very rarely are we expected to see the world from their perspective and asked to identify with and engage with their dark, twisted reality. In this way, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice is unique. It's certainly a daunting task that Ninja Theory have taken on board seriously. As mental health can be a very personal thing, unique to each person's own perspective on the world, the developers at Ninja Theory didn't want to just focus on one form of psychosis. In order to capture and portray the disease in an authentic and mature way, they recruited the help of Professor Paul Fletcher, psychiatrist and professor of health neuroscience at Cambridge University. They discuss the various symptoms of psychosis, and these can be seen reflected in-game in the form of three pillars: voices, puzzles, and combat. Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice is a game that must be experienced through headphones. Ninja Theory use a new binaural capture technology to simulate the voices in Senua's head. These voices take on a character of their own. They comment on everything happening in the game and both encourage, instruct, and ridicule you at the same time. There are no directions, UI, button prompts, or on-screen instructions to guide gamers. Instead, we are giving hints and directions by these voices. They shout out warnings as you block and dodge incoming attacks, encourage you as you progress through a level or solve a puzzle, while at the same time, these same voices mock Senua, giving misleading information and sowing the seeds of doubt and fear. You both rely on them and mistrust them at the same time. They are a constant throughout the game, and at points can become overwhelming and uncomfortable. There were even points during the game where I just had to remove my headphones to get away from the incessant voices, and even found myself actively talking to them and shouting out against their scorn.
Let go.
No, I'm not letting go. I'm not letting go.
You're going to die.
I'm not letting go. It is a clever mechanic that makes you appreciate and empathize with how difficult and disturbing it must be to live with these voices as a constant that can never be switched off. The second pillar used by Ninja Theory are puzzles. To progress through each level, Senua must solve many puzzles using the symbols and visions that only she can see in the world around her thanks to her psychosis. As her darkness spreads and the world becomes more chaotic and darker, these visions and by extension the puzzles themselves become more complex and harder, needing certain requirements like light or a different angle of perspective to see. While sometimes this mechanic does become repetitive and predictable in nature, it's an interesting premise and provides a decent level of challenge and engagement. The third and final pillar used to portray Senua's psychosis and her battle against the darkness is the combat system. It's both a robust and fun system, providing an excellent adrenaline-inducing degree of challenge to both seasoned and new melee gamers alike. As Senua travels through Helheim, her psychosis creates monsters and bosses formed from the darkness around her. The combat system is a simple one, using basic dodges, blocks, counters, light attacks, and heavy attacks. The enemy AI are aggressive and push in your position. Though their movesets are extremely predictable, the sheer volume of them is what makes it challenging. You often feel hemmed in and claustrophobic as the camera zooms in over Senua's shoulder and your field of vision narrows as enemies push you into a corner, attacking you simultaneously from all directions. Sometimes the combat feels like a test of strategy and patience as you size up your opponents, learn their rhythms and look for openings, much like the Dark Souls games. If you time your blocks just right, Senua will unleash a devastating counterattack, and doing this enough times will fill your focus bar, which when activated will slow down time, allowing Senua to unleash a flurry of attacks to devastating effect. Senua is responsive and agile, making the combat smooth and enjoyable. But what makes it truly exciting, immersive and high stakes is the renowned permadeath mechanic introduced at the start of the game. After your first death, the game warns you that with each subsequent death, the darkness will spread and that once it reaches your brain, the game is over. Now, whether this mechanic actually exists or is just a clever ruse by Ninja Theory is up for debate. I myself didn't come close to permadeath, and it seems that Ninja Theory have been generous in the number of times that you can die before you get to the big game over screen, but whatever the truth, it cannot be denied that it's a bloody brilliant mechanic that really gets into your mind, affecting how you approach each combat scenario. You become increasingly nervous and fearful with each death, second-guessing yourself at every turn and fumbling your buttons as panic sets in. This perfectly reflects Senua's own fears and doubts and leaves both the main character and the gamer feeling intimidated and powerless. Overall, Hellblade Senua Sacrifice is an outstanding game and a must-play for any avid gamer. It is easily a contender for Game of the Year and one of the most immersive experiences and compelling stories that I have played this year. Easily one of the most powerful, emotional, deeply personal narratives I've played in a video game. It is because of this that I've chosen to give the game a 10 out of 10. It's very rare that I will award a game a maximum score, but I feel that Hellblade Senua Sacrifice wholeheartedly deserves it. It is an important game that has made a powerful statement to all developers and publishers out there. that even with a small budget, a small team and a vision, you can create something of such quality and depth that it can compete with any AAA big game out there. If you are on the fence about playing Hellblade Senua Sacrifice, take a risk and play this game. Believe me, you won't regret it.